Yo, so I wanted to come right back with a video because yesterday at the end of the test drive with that guy, it was very apparent that overdrive was an issue. So I mentioned yesterday the speed sensor, the VSS sensor, vehicle speed sensor. It's on the back passenger side of the tail housing of the 4L60 two-wheel drive. I was like, well, I'm replacing that. It ain't gonna do nothing. I think I was wrong. I just replaced. So I got this up off the ground because I'm about to start suspension. And I was like, well, while I'm under there, why don't I just take off the speed sensor from this transmission because I know it's good, throw it in that one, and just see what it does. Well, I couldn't get to it because it's really close up against the transmission tunnel. So I digged into my stash and I had one just laying around. I did that. So here's something really weird about this one. This one is like, see how it goes in and then bloats out? I've never seen one like that. The one I put in was, see how that is right there? It was that skinny all the way down. This one has some sludge on it too. But I wonder if it's got maybe the sensor in there has a bunch of sludge in it and is blocking a reading or something. But either way, I threw in that speed sensor that I've probably had forever. I went and test drove it, and I didn't take my phone. I should have, so I could have showed you guys the stuff going on my gauges. Oh, well, let me start from the actual very beginning. So after I stopped recording yesterday, I parked right here. I got out, and I was like, let's just check the brake switch real quick. And of course, I get under there, and the brake switch, the plunger. So you got the plunger inside the brake switch. Once the brake is all the way up, there's a metal piece pressed up, and that plunger is pushed in. That means power is being sent to the torque converter through the purple wire of the swap harness. Well, that plunger wasn't even being touched, so it was open. The circuit was closed, so it wasn't getting power. I was like, that could be the whole issue right there. And so I fixed that debacle, and then I also wasn't getting power to the switch itself. And for some reason, the power to the brake switch, you get power from the wiper motor wires, because that was unplugged because it was in my way when I was doing the brake booster. So I was like, cars are so weird. Just plug it back in. Might have nothing to do with it. Plug it back in. I plug it back in, and I'm getting power. I get power to the wires at the switch. And I'm like, what? This is so weird. But that's just how cars are. So I got power. I got the brake switch adjusted to where it's getting the plunger pushed in and out like it's supposed to. And I think I went for another test drive, but this was all before I did the speed sensor. I did the speed sensor today. That stuff was just yesterday, and it acted completely the same. Where was I? I was probably at 2. I was probably around 2. I'm trying to remember. I think I was around 2,000 RPM. Because the thing with this, so on here, on the CUDA, it's 10 miles an hour off on the dot. So that one's really easy to tell, what RPMs I'm at 70 miles an hour. This also, the CUDA is really the only transmission I have to base RPMs off. But the transmission out of the CUDA came out of an F-body, so it was behind an LS1. I'm not 100% sure if they geared them a little differently depending on what vehicle they're put in. So CUDA's 4L60 was behind an LS1. So I don't know if the transmission gearing is a little different than the 4L60 that's in the Camaro, because that came out of a truck SUV. So if You tell me. If you know the answer to that, please let me know. We could all use the knowledge, especially me. But yesterday on the test drive, before replacing the speed sensor but fixing the brake switch and whatnot, I was around 2200 RPMs when it said 60 on the gauges. And I believe in the CUDA at 60, that really means 70. And I'm at like 1900 RPMs. So that would mean that there's a torque converter lockup issue, because lockup drops it a couple hundred RPMs, or speed sensor. So I replaced the speed sensor today. I just came back from the test drive. I should have taken the phone. I just didn't think it was going to change anything. So I was like, there's no point in bringing my phone. Even if I break down, who am I going to call? Ghostbusters? No, they don't want to be my friend either. But I don't know what gears are in it. I assume either 273s or 308s. Those are the most popular. On the RPM calculator, I did 273 gear with a 27-inch tall tire. It's a 215 70 15, so that makes it 27-inch tall. Well, 26.53 or something like 27. You got to round it up. And then I put at 70 miles an hour, so I just say that on the gauge it's 10 miles an hour off like the CUDA, even though it could be 15 miles an hour off. It could be 20 miles an hour off. It could be 5 miles an hour off. It could be 0. I don't know. I gotta figure out how to gauge that. But went back, test drove, and 1840 RPM, so 1,840 RPMs, was 60 on that. And I think it's 10 miles an hour off or so, and that's the RPM calculator with 308s, 27-inch tall tire. At 70 RPM was like 19. I put a screenshot. It was like 19 something. And I could actually feel it shifting. So it's kind of funky-ish between second and third. It kind of like it's not a very smooth transition. You kind of feel it. But it actually might be third to fourth. It's hard to say, because there's new noises, and I'm kind of trying to listen to the rear end, but also I'm trying to go with traffic, and traffic on that main road that I go down does like 50, 55. They do the speed limit. I got places to be, and they pass me. I go from a stop and I get going, and I'm catching up to them pretty quick. So, and just based off of feel, because there's a lot of vehicles I had never had a speedometer in, so I kind of gauge speed off of, the wind kind of beating your face up. And I think I was pushing 70 around 1900 RPMs. So I think it's fixed. I mean, I've had 3 speeds, and even with higher gears, at 65 miles an hour, they're still going to be pushing 2300 RPMs. So I think I fixed it. I think the speed sensor just fixed it, which is great news, because I was not wanting to, 1, replace the transmission, even though it was pretty easy. 2, pay for the transmission, because I ain't making no money. And the investor wasn't too happy when I told her about that yesterday. And 3, kind of can't sell a vehicle with bad transmission, because you'll just get lowballed to know it. You're going to get lowballed either way, but with bad transmission, you're going to get lowballed either way. But brakes. The brakes are horrible. The booster master cylinder made no difference. I might need to pull the rear wheels back off, adjust the brake shoes, because the drums are good, the brake shoes are good. Maybe just throw some new drums on it. The fronts, the pads were great, and the rotors are great. So maybe there's just still a bunch of air in the system. It still wheezes really heavy when I hit the brake pedal, so I have no clue what that is about. It's a brand new brake booster. But it stops okay-ish. Just make sure about 10 yards from the car in front of you, you start stopping, because you get any closer than that, it gets sketchy. But Next, I'm doing the Cudas. Doing the Cuda suspension. Next on this, I'm gonna do cosmetics. Still 50-50 on if it's gonna be for sale or not. I can tell you right now, the price will probably be around $8,500. That's running, driving, the engine. Oh my gosh, the engine runs so smooth. It runs like a sewing machine. The engine's perfect. The transmission, I'm gonna say I'm not 90% sure it's fixed, because I mean, I'm gauging everything off the RPMs. I didn't get the computer set up for the rear gears, so the RPMs the speedometer on the tablet is going to be off in some way, shape, or form. But just with driving it, I'm pretty sure it's good to go. If it was pushing like 2,500 RPMs and the tablet was saying like 45 miles an hour, then I'd be like, yeah, the transmission's toast. But with the RPM calculator and me throwing in 273 gears into the calculator and 308 gears, it all sounds like it's doing what it's supposed to and where it's supposed to be. But I just wanted to make a quick video on that, come back around to it, because obviously yesterday in that video, the test drive, it was obvious and apparent that there was no overdrive and stuff wasn't going on, but I tinkered with it. I should have recorded all that. I didn't. I apologize, but we need to maybe get some wheels on here. This fender, I have no idea what I'm gonna do about that, to be honest with you. I'm gonna do some cosmetics, really clean up the interior. I need to get a switch for the power windows so I can make those work, because this is getting summertime. It's getting a little toasty. Just clean it out, make it a little pretty on the inside. If you know anybody, or you yourself has taillight lenses for a 78 to 81, somebody's trying to steal my gas. It's expensive. I really want to tow something with this. Anyways, if you have taillight lenses, I know they're on eBay, but they're relatively expensive for used taillight lenses, and they're expensive for just one new one if you want a brand new one. Let me know. I need some. But let me know in the comments what you think about it. I mean, it's sweet for sure. I know I'm into it. I know as long as we don't have to buy a new transmission, don't see why we would, or get it rebuilt. I think we're somewhere in the $7,000 range of doing this running driving swap. And that's without digging into the brakes. I think 65, 7,000, I don't know. I'm going to do a video on that too, but I got to go back and really get technical about what we spent and what I bought. I'm sure there's about $1,000 minimum of miscellaneous stuff I spent on this so far, just on miscellaneous stuff in general. But yeah, anyways, appreciate you watching. Just wanted to get that out real quick. Donations, I appreciate any donations that are sent. It's a big help. Actually, I got a donation yesterday and it went to the Camaro already. So I know it's weird, a dude on YouTube asking y'all for money. I don't like it myself either. I'm just saying, anything that you send goes right back into this and the channel. It's not like hookers and blow. Well, maybe a little bit, but come on, who's not? But appreciate you watching. Go build something, please, because that's what these videos are for. So I'll see you when we get to the CUDA.